Welcome everyone to our program for every Friday, Rebuilding Family Foundation. I'm happy this program comes every Friday night from 9 to 10 a.m. prime time, because we deal with issues of mature people so that they can grow to become better in one way or the other. I'm your coach Collins Bolo, or Reverend Collins Bolo, coming all the way from Mombasa, that we may learn and grow ourselves in one way or the other. Kindly, if you can get me, if you can get my transmission from any part of the country, probably in diaspora, I'd like to get your feedback right away as you tell me I'm watching and tuning in as you address your location. That would be very nice, very encouraging too at the same time. For the last few weeks, there are a number of things you have been learning, which I think we need to pick from that point. Last time we were learning about stupid decisions couples make. And today we are going to go on the other side of the coin, best decisions which couples can make. Have you ever found or heard someone saying is married that marriage is one of the most difficult, boring thing in one way or the other? What about, have you had someone saying marriage is the best thing you can be and you can enjoy in life? Now, it depends. We have people on both sides. Some are really enjoying it, they're finding it well. Some are feeling like getting out of it as soon as possible. But the big question is this, after all is said and done, for those who are enjoying it, what are these things they know that you ought to know so that it can make yours to be good, nice, and suitable? And for those who are in pain, what are they doing which might be leading to pain? For those who are in pain, you can go back to our YouTube channel, Rebuilding Family Foundation, and you're going to get several presentations you have done about marriage and family, and out of it you can learn and you can grow yourself. But if you're there and you're saying, just give me one word, just give me one tip which can make my marriage, my family become better, you're in the right place. Don't pull out, don't give up, just stick together with me. And as we move on, I'm quite sure in one way or the other, you're going to enjoy the moment and you're going to enjoy the great training and presentation for this night. Welcome and join us. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm happy and excited when we talk about marriage and family and relationship. It's one of the topics I love so much. One, because I was privileged to grow up in a family whereby we had a father who gave us a good example of what a father ought to be, and a mother who became one of the best mothers living and growing with us, apart from training and information which I have today, and as a certified marriage and family therapist. What are some of the best decisions you can make? Because today, in one way or the other, whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a Buddhist, you're a Hindu, marriage is a global phenomenon. Some move monogamous, some polygamous, others in different contexts and in different ways. But the big question is this: for those who have decided to get into it, what are some of the best decisions we can make as couples to make our life become better. Now, that one means it is possible in one way or the other, people's life, marriage to become better. It is very much possible. There are people enjoying it. There are people appreciating it. Personally, I appreciate where I am today. I appreciate where I'm coming from. And I believe God, by His grace, will help me to continue growing and becoming better. But what are some of the things which makes the difference between those who are progressively growing and developing themselves from those who are depreciating as time moves on? Most of every successful ventures are based on laws and principles. And once you are capable to get to the point of understanding some of the laws and principles of relationship, then it will become one of the catalysts towards you enjoying yourselves and making the best decisions as couples. So in our venture of trying our level best in marriage, decisions are paramount. And decisions which we make has a lot to do with the kind of results we'll get tomorrow and the kind of state we are in today. Now, that means then it's important at least to understand some of the basic things as far as being couples is concerned and decision making is concerned. Now, today I like to help every couple just like me and every person intending to be, and also learning for those who probably have pulled out because of one reason or the other. Leading us to this big question: what are some of the best decisions we can make as couples? Now, when I talk about couples, I mean a husband and a wife, male and female, who have decided to live as a husband and a wife, either through religious entry, civil entry, or traditional entry. When I talk about couples, I'm not referring to cohabiting partners. These are mature people behaving as though they're married, but they are not married. My reference also is not to boyfriend-girlfriend kind of a relationship. I'm very specific on a man and a woman who are living as a husband and wife through either entry point of religious entry point, civil entry point, or traditional entry point. Cohabitation is not marriage, neither equivalent to marriage. Boyfriend, girlfriend living together, it's not marriage, neither close to marriage. These are mature people who have decided to behave like without a commitment in one way or the other. Now, for those who have decided to commit themselves, or those who are intending to commit themselves, what are the best decisions you can make to make your life, your marriage to become better and great? The best decision number one, which you need to understand and also can help and facilitate your well-being. I'm sorry, this is not the one. Something is wrong here. Kindly, if you can hear me, just send a word, send a notification, just tell me something. Let me know where you're watching me from, so that I can feel like I'm not watching from at this particular point, and I will appreciate very, very much. Where are you watching us from? Let me make a correction here. About my presentation. Waiting, who will be the first person today? Who will be the first person today to communicate? Best decisions a couple can make. Decision number 1. Decide to build a love that lasts. Decide to build a love that lasts. Now, why is it important for one to build love that lasts? Now, when you talk about love in English, it's just one word. But if we go to some of all languages like Hebrew or Greek, it connotes 4 different aspects. When you talk about love in English, in Hebrew, it may mean agape. This is God's kind of love. Like when Jesus asked Peter, do you agape me? Do you love me unconditionally? That's still in English, just one word, love. Again, we have phileo. Do you love like brother, like a friend? Do you phileo me? It's still in English, love. Then we have like a brother. I sterego you. Love you like a or erotic or romantic love. Do you eros me? Now, one of the big disadvantages we have today in our society, especially thinking about love from a Western English point of view, when white people talk about I love you, most of the time they are talking about the emotional feeling which a person has for the next opposite sex. Love feelings. Now, the tricky part is that love feelings come and go, and they're determined with so many internal and external factors. And as couples, if the emotional love is the motivation for your relationship, then you have a big trouble. You'll be in big trouble. No wonder one great scholar said in marriage, 1% is food and sex, but 99% is what you think about your spouse. Now, the 99% has nothing to do specifically just emotions, feeling, erotic, sexual emotion. No. That's where most of the foundation of our marriages are shaky, because most of the time when men want to get to a lady, what drives them is how big are the boobs, how big are the butts, what about the figure? All those are good qualities which are God designed on mankind, but it contributes to 1%. Are you aware that the fact one has big boobs or big butts or quite big figure does not guarantee the person true qualified to be one of the best woman or wife can be? Just like the fact that a man is tall, strong, and masculine does not necessarily mean he's a potential husband or good, excellent husband. Why? Because physique does not guarantee the success in the process unless the law of relationship are well understood in one way or the other. And that's very key and very, very important. Very important. I'd like to appreciate Robert Mutua responding all the way from diaspora. Thank you, Robert Mutua. Sauti iko sawa. Shalom, Pastor. Thank you, Robert Mutua. I really appreciate you joining our program, even from diaspora at this particular point. If you're in diaspora, you are in any part of this country, kindly communicate. Let me hear you. Let me get information from you. Where are you getting me from? I really appreciate so much, even as I get feedback from you in one way or the other. Great, let's move on. Now, that's why decision number 1 is that decide to build love that lasts. Now, when we talk about love that lasts, erotic love is on and off. There's no guarantee because you feel for someone, because it makes you not to sleep very well, because this person gives you sleepless night, because the figure makes you just feel like you are sweating in every part of you. It's good feeling, but you need to understand that in marriage, such kind of feeling will always be on and off. You cannot put as the basis and foundation of your marriage and relationship. It is good as a trigger factor in the law of attraction. Now, even loving someone as a brother is very good and nice, but loving your wife as a brother and she's not your brother, or loving your husband as a brother, it is good, nice, and it has its own place. But even brothers and sisters can disappoint you sometime in life. Now, loving as a friend is extreme. We already said that the love between me and you will be like friends. It's also very nice, very good, and also healthy in one way or the other. However, at the same time, as we love each other as friends, we need to get to another level higher, whereby now you can build love that lasts. And the kind of love that lasts is agape, God's kind of love, God's unconditional love, whereby the love relationship between you and your wife is not just based on the beauty which she beholds. Why? Beauty is like flower. One might take responsibility to make it to blossom for some years. Some people just become careless after they get married and it disappears after the first delivery. It happens. And for women, sometimes it's much faster unless they take discipline to continue to build and grow themselves to become better, beautiful, and excellent. So building love that lasts works well and better if both of you decide as friends, as husband and wife, will be the God kind of love, God unconditional love. We are going to be kind to each other. We will be patient to one another. We'll be good listeners to each other. We will avail ourselves against all, in spite of the background, the difference of our background, our culture, our tribe, our academic dynamics. We agree that we are special people as husband and wife, and this world needs us very much. And by us unconditionally loving each other, even in time of differences and crisis, because crises are bound to come, differences are bound to come, but you have decided to make a commitment to each other. And the commitment is simple. You shall love each other unconditionally. That's decision number one. Decide to build. The issue is to build, meaning that it is a progress. It's not a one-time thing. It's a progress. It is a progress. And the language of love for women and for men is so much different. That will be for another training, another time. It is so much, the love language for men and women is so much different. So as a man, you need to understand, how can I build love that lasts in the language of the female, so that they can be able to, and they can be able to understand them and they can understand me. As a woman, how can I build love that lasts with the language of a woman and understanding the language of my man, love language? Very key and very important. Why would we talk about love language? For example, a woman feels loved by a man or the husband who is available for him, presence. And a man feels respected and loved by a woman who respects her. Understand your love language. Number two, what is the second best decision couples can make to enjoy life? Decide to be positive. That's the second one. Decide to be positive as couples. Now, why is it important for you to decide to be positive? Now, we are living in a society whereby we remember the negatives more than the positive. We are living in a society whereby people actually store a lot of bitterness and anger and offenses, to the point whereby the beauty which they are seeing on each other, the strength they are seeing on each other, the thing which attracted themselves to each other starts fading off. Starts fading off at that particular point, and that one makes it to be extremely tricky. Extremely tricky. Now, that one means then Because we have difference of culture, even if it be the same tribe. I and my wife are of the same tribe, but our backgrounds are so much different. I came from a very religious home, while she came from an averagely religious home. So much different in so many ways. I was the firstborn. I'm the firstborn in a home. She's the lastborn in their home. That already makes default difference on how we view things. How I view as the firstborn, how she views life as the lastborn. Our personalities are so much different. But we have learned to be positive with one another. Now, one of the secrets of deciding to be positive, now the issue is decide. Because being negative is very natural, by the way. Being negative is very, very much natural. But being positive is a decision. So that one means, yes, when you look at your wife, out of 10 key things you can notice in her, probably you don't like 8, but there are 2 you like so much. Why don't you focus on the 2 you like, comment, compliment, and grow? Focus to grow the 2 things you like in her than commenting about the 8 things you don't like about her. In the same way to your husband, there's some few things you like about him, or probably out of 10 things, there are 6 things you don't like, there are 4 things you like. Why don't you be positive and start focusing on the 4 things you like and build from that point? Because you will never get Mr. Right and Mr. Perfect. You only see them in movies and you read them on novels. Why? Life is a progress of development. It's a process and progress of development. So Mr. Right and Mrs. Right do not exist. They only exist by learning to be positive so that things can be right in your own context. And that's why as couples, you have to decide to be positive. Be positive to each other. Don't be always nagging and negative. Don't be the kind of a person who reminds your wife and your husband about the things which happened in the past. Be positive. And the beautiful thing is this: the more positive you are, the more you are going to enjoy a feedback of being positive. But the more negative you become, the more tricky it becomes, even as far as growing, interacting, and such kind of things are concerned. Decision number 3. What's the third decision, best decision you need to make as couples? Decide to communicate with kindness. Decide to communicate with kindness. Now here, remember, it's decision. Decision has to come from both parties. How can I communicate with kindness? Because sometimes we so much focus about communicating, but we forget the aspect of with kindness. Okay, I understand that sometimes within our society, you have grown up in an environment whereby if you are a man who is harsh, then people believe you are the real man. A real man has to be really harsh. You have to be harsh to your wife. You have to be harsh to your children. You have to be harsh around your neighborhood so people can see like, hey, there's a lion around. But the funny thing is that people are harsh. They don't get awards of success and progress except disconnection, both emotional and socially, from the people they are harsh towards them. Now, every man needs to understand that if you want your marriage to become better, your relationship to become better, learn to communicate with kindness. It's something which you have to train yourself. You have to train yourself. And sometimes what you should say in communicating or communication, it is not just what you say, but how you say it. And a time comes whereby it's not just how you say it, but when you say it. Very key and very important. So you have to grow your emotional intelligence so that you sound and become kind in time. Both men and women. As a woman, you want to enjoy peace in your home. Make sure that your man enjoys peace by how you talk. Be kind. Don't be harsh. Don't nag. Don't make sure that you avoid sounding harsh and rash or coming with a kind of communication which demeans your man. The same way for men. You have to be very careful that your words are rich in helping a woman to grow and to develop. Be kind. Avoid negative compliment about how the looks of your wife. Nowadays you are fat like a pig. Why don't you come up with a way to help her to reduce the weight? Why don't you come up with a way to change your menu? Be kind. Now, kindness is so powerful because it creates an environment of growth, it creates an environment of progress, and it creates an environment of trust among people. All kind men and women tend to attract so many people around them. Why? It's a virtue. It is a virtue. So if you're unkind to your wife because you earn a lot of money, the day your money will disappear, you're going to get back what you sowed massively. She'll be extremely unkind to you. If you are unkind to your children because they're young and you feel you're strong, when you become old, they'll never be kind to you. So as couples, some of the best decisions you need to do, come together and decide, by the way you have been talking to each other is not good. Is it possible we intentionally decide from now we will be kind to one another? We are going to be kind to each other. Very important, because relationships are collapsing today because men and women are arrogant. We are living in a society where with feminine coming in, some women are extremely arrogant, harsh, and unkind to their men, not knowing that even men have emotions and feelings and they can feel hurt. Kindness. I'll give an example of a case study. There's this pastor who had been invited to a new church. And as he was getting to know different members within this particular local church, there's one lady who was called Mama Kanisa, very committed and very dedicated in this particular church, very well. The other people in the same church were committed in taking different kind of tasks within the same church. But what amazed the pastor is that this committed mama, on the other side, his husband is one of the alcoholic in the same village and a troublemaker in the same location. So there's a disconnect. How is such a spiritual woman having such a rough and kind man? So he decided to venture and meet with the husband to this woman and ask him, Mzee, what's up? How can I help you? And the Mzee, the husband to the woman, told the pastor, I'm sorry. If salvation and Christianity is what my wife displays in my home, I can never become a Christian. The reason I'm the way I am today and I'm drunk most of the time is because of the stress my wife brings to me. So the husband was so much concerned what might be happening in this home. And the man started explaining how the wife every day verbally speaks with a lot of disrespect and unkindness to him, crushing his ego and confidence, and he gets to the bank so that he can get solace. And told the pastor, if you don't believe it, every day I come at home at 6, drunk and singing and making noise, and my wife gets at home at 5. Let's plan you get to my house and I hide you somewhere. Then hear what she'll verbally abuse me. And they agreed. The pastor he went before the wife came in, he hid somewhere in the house. Then the time the man was coming, singing and making noise as usual, he could hear verbal abuse and kind words and kind sentiments towards this man being thrown here and there. After the man came in, he called the pastor and he told him, listen now, you as a man, what makes you think I should not go to the bank and drink under such kind of situation? When the mama saw the pastor, she suddenly changed and started saying, Hallelujah, Bwana asifiwe. Men and women are suffering because of unkind words from each other. You must make the decision as a man to be kind to a wife. The more you are unkind to her and you speak unkind words to her, yet when she's out of the house, there are other men who are giving positive compliments. You need to be aware these are some of the things which are making married women to get to seduction. Because the last time they had the husband telling them, I love you, is before the wedding day. Or some few minutes before having sex. But apart from that, there are no kind words at all. Can you make a decision from today? You'll be kind to each other. It will help you to grow, to develop, and to make your relationship better and better. I'd like to appreciate Bolo Production. That's Emmanuel Bolo all the way from Nairobi. My son, I really appreciate you for attending this program all the way from Nairobi. Thank you very much. I'd like also to appreciate Ann Osebe, my fellow therapist. Thank you very much. I hope people can listen to this. It's so encouraging. Yes, I hope too people listen to this and they'll get back to it and even learn more. Very key and very important too. Thank you, Ann Osebe, even for joining us and moving with us. Send your comments, send your compliment as we are moving on, learning in our program today, Rebuilding Family Foundation. As I say, this program comes every Friday from 9 to 10 so that we can add knowledge and value to ourselves. Decision number 4. What are other best decisions we need to make so that we can make our life as couples to become better? Decide to fight fairly. You need to learn to decide to fight fairly. Now, what is fighting fairly? What is fighting fairly? Now, when we talk about fighting fairly, we are bringing a concept whereby if a difference has come between both of you, the first immediate thing you need to do is to separate the issue of your difference from each other. Learn to separate the issue of difference from your partner. Always, that's a principle. So if your wife offends you, separate the offense from your wife. If your husband offends you, separate the offense from your husband. Step number 1. Then step number 2, if you have to attack the issue and spare the person. I repeat, if you have to attack the issue and spare the person. I'll give an example. Here you are as a man. Your wife does something which is not good. Then you call her stupid woman. That one means already you have labeled her as stupid. But probably what she has done is actually stupid. So which is the best way to fight fairly? By the way, what has happened, I do not like it. She will feel what you don't like and is making you to be mad is the act which has been done, but not the person in essence. Another example, she took your money without consulting you for the good of the family or for her own selfish need. Or your man come and takes your money to go and drink without consulting you. So what happens here? There are two ways. You are a thief, and this is your behavior. Why do you like stealing? You are a thief. Now that is not fighting fairly. It's labeling. But still you can decide with the principle number one to do this. By the way, are you aware that taking someone thing without asking is as good as stealing? I don't like it. I prefer you ask me or you consult me on the matter. The person will feel you are really attacking the wrong while you are sparing the person. That's step number one. Then step number two, how should you become fair on the matter? In every relationship, differences will come because of our backgrounds, because of our personality, because of the kind of the gender we have. Gender dynamics can make us to get into a difference. And when all these differences are when they are manifesting at different stages in our life, it becomes extremely paramount for one to understand one thing. When it has just happened and there's a crisis, how do you fight fairly? One, address the issue at hand without taking the person to other offenses of the past. I repeat, address the issues at hand without taking the person to the issues of the past. No wonder the good book says that love does not accumulate, does not pick or have accumulation of wrongs. Now, many of us have a weakness whereby if something happens, you get back. Can you remember? You can remind your husband even the things which happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, connecting. And what happens to this man? He feels he's back on the same step which you talked and you resolved the issue. The same way there's some men, once a difference takes place in their relationship, they take back their wives to other issues, even not relating to the current situation. Learn to address the issue at hand without bringing others back to condemn your partner. If what I'm saying is making sense and you have seen it happening somewhere, just type, I hear you, I feel you, I hear you. Just type, I hear you. If right now what I'm talking about is something which you have seen it somewhere, just write, I hear you. I really appreciate you by sending that comment. Why? Things happen. Learn to fight fairly. Your in-laws have come with a demand. Please, instead of fighting whether it will work or not work, why don't you sit down, discuss the matter, and check if that good matter is within your order of priority or an issue of urgency. Fighting unfairly is when you reject everything unless it makes sense to you. Decide to fight fairly. Very important and very key. Why? If you don't decide to fight fairly, there'll be more emotional casualty within your environment. which will lead to emotional disconnection. Sometimes it can lead to mistrust. And when these things happen, fighting fairly. Let me give another example. Men generally they like they're territorial and they always want to feel they have conquered and they are winners, even in an argument. So, as a smart woman, what do? When some issues of argument come between you, leading to crisis, please avoid fighting to show you are the winner. You might win in the argument, but you might lose the connection. You might win in the argument, but you lose the connection. That one means you have to be smart enough to get to the point of understanding this. When arguments come in between both of you about anything, it is not about who is right, but are we handling it rightly? There are people who are good in arguing. There are men who are good. They'll argue. By the time you win in your argument, your wife feels like nothing, like nobody, of no value, and she sat around wondering and regretting, where did I put myself into? Yes, you have won as a man. You're happy you have won. It is true. It is good. But you're leaving someone feeling so crushed and wondering, when we were courting, this guy was a good listener. We could talk and agree on matters. But I think I was deceived. This guy just loved arguing for nothing. The same thing can happen to a woman. You can argue, and come up with facts until you win in the argument. But the big question is this, after all is said and done, have you won your man? Or you have just won the argument? And that's why if you separate these issues from the word go, and you argue on the issues without attacking the person, then the victory will be based on the issue, but the relationship are still going to become good, nice, and excellent. But it's a decision. You must decide to fight fairly. Be fair to your wife. Be fair to your husband. Don't expose your husband to your people. Decide to fight fairly. Number 5, decide we is greater than me. Decide we is greater than me. Now, why is it important to decide we is greater than me? Why is this important? Now, when you are single and unmarried, especially during the age of accountability from the age of 18 for women and the age of 21 for men, during that period, you had enough time to think as an individual, to think as a single, and to make decisions as a single entity, and go whenever you want and to do whatever you want as a single entity. That's one of the best privilege you had. The moment you decided to become husband and wife, this is one of the privileges which by default started going down. And now it's no longer about you or me, and the language now will be like we. What can we do? What can we plan? What is our budget? Where are you seeing we need to be in future? That's the language of couples they need to have. Whereby you are consciously aware, you are sharing life, and in your sharing life, each person has a role to play for the success of both of you. It is not about just the man, or not just about the woman, or just about the family of the man or the woman. Your family is out. It's about you as couples. Your language you must decide We is greater than me, my people, our relative. Forget about them. I'm not saying forgetting negatively. They're important people, but the importance should come after we has been addressed. That's why most of the people make a big mistake at this particular point. The language of we rather than me is not the first thing. Me. I. What have you brought for me? What are you planning to buy for me? Where are you planning to take me? Why are other men doing ABCD to their wife and you're not doing it to me? Why are other women looking blah, 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 but you're not good to me? The language of me can be extremely destructive because it purports that you as an individual, you are the most important point of reference against the other party or you both. If you are not willing to talk the language of we, don't get married. Stay single until you die. But if you decide to get married, you have to understand it's a life of two sharing together. And sharing does not mean leading from a state of equal, but equitable kind of leadership. The man as the head, the wife as the greatest support for the success. The woman, the wife. Now, so you're coming as the support system and the man as a leader, then as a leader, you need to develop the language of where I like us to go. This is what I think would help us. What can we do to make it a reality? Now that things are very hard economically, what can we do so that we can reduce the stress, financial stress levels? And sometimes you might need to sit down, decide, and take a fallback plan. Now that we are paying our house rent at 30,000 and things have become so tough, why don't we relocate to a cheaper place, cheaper facility, and then we take it as a fallback plan so that our financial strain can reduce. You decide, you talk together, you decide together, you agree together, and work together. But if one party thinks by itself, the man thinks by himself, you just go, you meet with your fellow men, you discuss, you decide, and you conclude. Then your wife and your children, like Makunguru, you just tell them, pack, and we are going. Going where? You have not discussed anything at all. Or because your wife, you as a woman, are the one who earns more and your man is jobless, you go to Chama, you discuss the matter with your fellow women or with your relatives, you come to a conclusion. The next thing, a lorry is coming, everything's been packed, the people are shifting to a new location because you have decided that's the best thing for the family. If it is not a discussion of the language of we, and me is greater, then you are going to fail. You don't need a prophet to tell you this. You'll fail. Marriage is an agenda of two, working together for a common goal, success and prosperity. But when me is greater than we, then challenges will come on our way. And that's why rebuilding family foundation comes in to educate us, to remind us, to inform us, to encourage us to remember some of these basic things we need to use to do while courting. And now we have forgotten them because of so many issues happening around our life. One of these days, we're going to have a parenting class and training. Make sure as you're joining our YouTube channel, our live broadcast, you work with us, you follow us, so that as this continues to grow and to move on, you won't miss the parenting training so you can become the best parents for our children. This is key. and also very, very, very important. Okay, thank you. You have talked about 5 best decision couples can make. Which one do you love it most? Which one have impressed you more? Which one has motivated you most? In our next episode, we shall continue the next 5 best decisions couples can make. For more information, you can contact us even through you can get a YouTube channel, you can get our contacts, and you can communicate with us. If you need one-on-one counseling therapy, kindly, you can get my number. Just text me, communicate to me, and we can plan exactly how you can get help. This is my number. In case you need prayers, in case you need counseling, you can actually get this number, call me, and you can organize in one of our facilities for counseling, and you can become better in many, many ways. Wisdom is important. Knowledge also is extremely important. And that's why I'll continue to encourage you. MC Richie, I really appreciate you so much, even for joining this program today. Long-time friend, I really appreciate you so much. Thank you. That's what I have for you today in our program, Rebuilding Family Foundation. Next week, let's move on, learn more. But remember one thing, we have several programs running on. Every Tuesday, My Wealth, My Health, My Wealth, coming with Nurse Mary Celesa, Talk on Health. Every Wednesday, we have Moment with Christ, where we have different panelists coming in and discussing different spiritual matters and life. Every Thursday, we have Marketplace Venture, whereby we have a group of people coming in and talking and sharing together with us about success as far as marketplace is concerned in one way or the other. So you make sure that you don't miss that. And every Friday, we have Rebuilding Family Foundation, whereby sometimes we have panelists coming in and sometimes we have talks like today on matters of life, which are very key and very important. Before we finish, I'd like to appreciate Robert Mutua, say thank you for your teachings, Pastor. Welcome very much, Robert Mutua. I'm happy even as you have followed us all through to the end from diaspora. Yes, I have my queen around, Blessed Celesa Bolo, saying very insightful. Thank you, even as you're following me all the way from home in Nairobi. God bless you very much. Really, thank you so much. God bless you, everyone. Remember, we are back again on Tuesday. My health, my wealth. If this program has really taught you something good, subscribe and send the link also to your friends that they may watch and they may add value and knowledge to themselves. Good night. God bless you. Let's keep in touch again in our next episode.